Have you ever wondered why we get so torn up about things we can't control? Well, today we're going to dive into this really powerful idea about the connection between what we cling to and our own happiness.
So, to kick things off, we're going to start with a simple story that honestly reveals a pretty deep truth. It all starts with a question for a monk. So just picture this, right? You're in a huge forest. Leaves are falling all around you. Someone walks up to a monk and asks, "Hey, all these leaves are falling, branches are being cut down. How does that make you feel?" And the monk's answer is so simple, but it really hits you. He just says, "It's okay, they're not mine." See, he doesn't feel any personal loss because he has zero sense of ownership over the forest. But then they switch it up on him. The question gets way more personal. They ask, "Okay, but what if your own robe, the one you're actually wearing, gets torn? How would you feel then?" And right there, his answer completely changes. "I feel regret." It's not about the object itself. It's about that one powerful thought. This is mine. And as soon as that idea pops up, so does the possibility of pain. That simple little distinction between mine and not mine, that's pretty much the root of what we call attachment. And as we're about to see, that feeling can cause some really deep suffering. And we all do this, don't we? You hear about a terrible train crash on the news, and of course you feel sad. But for most of us, life goes on. But if you lose someone you love, a person who is yours, well, that pain can stick with you for a lifetime. The stronger that feeling of ownership, the deeper the wound. This reminds me of a classic story about this exact thing. There was this rich guy who was just eaten up with anxiety about his gold. He was so paranoid about thieves, he couldn't even stand to keep it in his own house. So he took his entire fortune and buried it under a tree. Now, every single day, this guy would go out to the tree just to stand there and look at the spot where his gold was buried. A worker saw him doing this weird ritual day after day and got curious. So one day, while the rich man was gone, the worker went over, dug up the spot, and he took every last bit of gold. So when the rich man came back and saw his treasure was gone, he was just destroyed, completely falling apart. His worker comes over, pretending to be helpful, and gives him this brutally logical piece of advice. He says, "Hey, don't worry, we'll just wrap some bricks in gold paper and bury those instead. I mean, you never actually used the gold anyway, so as long as you believe it's there, what's the difference?" The man's happiness wasn't tied to the gold itself, but to the illusion that he possessed it. Man, that story really makes you stop and ask yourself a pretty important question, doesn't it? If possession can just be an illusion, then what are we holding on to so tightly in our own lives? Seriously, let's just think about this for a second. What are the things that you and I label mine with such intensity that losing them would cause us real, deep pain? It usually boils down to three big things. First, we grasp at our bodies, but let's be real, they're going to age, get sick, and eventually pass away. Second, we grasp at our wealth, but money can be lost, stolen, or just disappear in a flash. And third, we grasp at our relationships, but even the people we love the most will one day be separated from them. So here's the key takeaway, right? The body, the wealth, the relationships, they aren't the problem. The problem is the grasping. The tighter you hold on, the more it's going to hurt when things change. Okay, so if grasping is the problem, is the answer just to what? Not care about anything at all? No, not even close. The solution is actually a huge shift in how we see things. This teaching offers a really clear three-part path. First, see clearly. That means understanding the true, temporary nature of everything. Second, let go. Release that tight, possessive grip. And third, use correctly, which means you still engage with the world and your responsibilities, but you do it from this new, much wiser perspective. And this is a super important point. This whole idea isn't an excuse to just check out and be apathetic. We still have to take care of our bodies, our families, our jobs. The big difference is the understanding in your heart that you don't actually own any of it. We're just temporary caretakers. Everything is on loan. So what does this new perspective actually look like in real life? Well, it leads to a really beautiful and kind of radical transformation. This is the core shift. It's about moving from a mindset of possession, of trying to get and hold on to stuff, to a mindset of giving, of sharing and letting things flow. You stop trying to own the world and you start contributing to it. Once you really get this, your whole to-do list changes. The advice becomes really urgent and clear. If there's something you can give, just give it. Don't wait. If there's a grudge or an attachment you can release, do it now.
And if there's a good quality in yourself you can develop, you start today.
And all of this leads to the final, really profound takeaway. At the end of the day, you can't take your body, your wealth, or even your loved ones with you. The only things that truly become a part of you, the only things that follow you, are the things you've freely given away. So the final question really isn't what do you own, but what are you giving?